Welcome to the Tournament Center here at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch in Atlanta. I'm Brian David Marshall, and I am joined by four-time Grand Prix champion Fabrizio Anteri, most recently in Grand Prix Mexico City. Congratulations on your weekend in Mexico.
Thank you very much.
And we're going to talk about one of the most exciting decks in this modern format. I guess you guys call it maybe Suicide Zoo. We've been calling it Death Shadow Zoo. What were you thinking? What led you down the road to play with Death Shadow?
Right. I played the deck last year in GP Copenhagen. I was just, there are so many brews around, and that was the first time I hit with the deck. I had enough time, so it looked like a pile to me, but I just decided to try it. And it actually ended up being really good. It has so many turn 3 kills. So I played in that GP, I did well with that deck. Obviously I didn't play much more after that because the focus was in the standard. But again, it was Pro Tour testing time, and my teammates were just really excited about the deck, so we put a lot of time on the deck, and 12 out of 15 players in the team decided to play Suicide Zoo this weekend.
All right, let's take a look at what that means. We mentioned Zoo, so these are some of the staple cards from Zoo. Talk about, Goblin Guide and Wild Nakabi.
Exactly. Aggressive creatures, green and red aggressive creatures. We see these creatures in most of the in most of the Zoo decks, especially Wild Nakabi is 3 powers, 1 mana, super aggressive, really powerful. Sengoif, Monastery Swiftbeard, Goblin Guy, all aggressive creatures.
Okay, so that's almost all your creatures, but there's still some more cards here to take a look at, and let's go. In the middle here, you see Death Shadow. It's an avatar, it's a 13/13, it costs 1 mana, but there's a problem.
It dies unless you manage to put your life low enough to play it.
So Death Shadow gets -X, where X is your life total. So it starts as a -7.
Exactly. When you're in 20, you cannot cast it, it just dies right away. So Death Shadow is a great creature when you manage to put your life total low enough. Ideally 12, which you can do consistent enough on turn 2. Basically what you're looking to do with the deck is to have 2 fetch lands. The deck only have fetch lands and shock lands, as we're going to see next in the Manabase. So you go down to 14 only with playing 2 lands, and then you have some spells to pay to life, like Tax Improve, the Strict Wraith, Thoughtseize, Mutagenic Growth. So you go down to 12, so you can cast the Death Shadow on turn 2, has a 1/1, and then turn 3, depending on your hand, you can just go for the kill.
Okay, so let's talk about Street Wraith for a second. This is a card if you see someone cycling a Street Wraith, paying 2 life to cycle it, you're going to assume that they're living end. But
exactly.
This has now become a fixture in the Death Shadow deck. This is a card that's, if you see this, then maybe your opponent's playing this deck.
Exactly, and it makes the deck plays 12 cycling spells, so it's basically a 48 card deck. It can afford to only play 16 lands, which is a really low count, 16 or 17 depending on the version. And with just playing so few cards in your deck, you draw the Shadow often enough, so it's really common to be able to cast the Shadow on turn 2, or even 2 the Shadows on turn 2. Then you also have Thoughtseize, so it's a great turn 1 play if you don't have one of the 1 mana creatures.
Because you can break a fetch land.
Exactly.
Pay for the shock land.
Go to 17, then go to 15.
And then maybe cycle a Street Wraith in the way.
Exactly. If you have a really good hand, you can even cast the Shadow on turn 1. Just cycle, fetch land, shock land, Death Shadow on turn 1. I know, it's scary.
Let's take a look at some of the other cards that round out the spells. You talked about the cyclers. Mishra's Bauble is a card that lets you dig through your deck.
Exactly, and it's even more than that. It doesn't look like it, but there are so many hands that, for example, you're going to fetch on turn 1 and you have Mishra's Bauble, and you're missing or a piece of the combo, or you're maybe missing a creature, or you want a Mutagenic Growth in case they're playing Lightning Bolt. So you can pick at the top card of your deck before deciding to fetch, and then you can just play hit Tax Improve and draw that card before fetching. If you don't like the card, you can just fetch first, and then you draw a random card from your deck. So it has more uses, this card in this deck, than just cycling. It's a really good card in the deck.
Of course, you've got the Become Immense Teamer Battle Rage combo.
Exactly.
What turn can you pull this off on?
Turn 3, often enough. Again, the deck has 12 cycling spells, so it's not as hard as it looks like. We've been seeing the last few months in Standard how a target red just managed to get turn 3 or 4 kills, and in Modern it's way easier to do with this deck because you have so many cycling spells, fetch lands, so it's really easy to get the turn 3 kill, and even Thoughtseize and hit Tax Improve to make sure that there is nothing in your way.
The most boring card in the deck, Lightning Bolt.
Exactly, it's the most boring card in the deck. It's the last card that you want to add to the deck, but you still want some interactions, because there are other decks that has a really fast clock, like Infect. So if they're on the play, they are likely going to be ahead. So Lightning Bolt is a way to interact with them if you want to.
This card's been played on the Pro Tour for 20 years. As long as it's been legal, it will always find its way into the Pro Tour decks. Let's take a look at some more cards. And here we see, you talked about this, the Manabase, Bloodstained Mire, Windswept Heath, Verdant Catacombs, Wooded Foothills. You're paying life.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole idea. Other than being one of the best lands in the format, you also actually want to lose the life just play the Death Shadow. So you're more than happy to take 3 every turn with a fetch land plus a shock land.
So that's 12 fetch lands. Let's take a look at the shock lands, and then you see a Stomping Ground, a Godless Shrine, a Blood Crypt, a Sacred Foundry, and Overgrown Tomb.
Yeah,
Am I missing something here?
The deck is basically John colors, but it still have Wealth Macat, so you want a way to have planes. And we also play white cards in the side, really important white cards. So ideally you will go Stomping Ground and Godless Shine, so you'll have all your 4 colors by turn 2. You can also go Sacred Foundry, Overgrown Tomb, and again you'll have all the colors. Depending on your hand, you will fetch differently. All depending on the fetch, some of the fetch don't find the Shockland that you want, so you need to just play accordingly and fetch accordingly.
Okay, so this is certainly going to be a deck that we're going to see people playing on Magic Online. People are going to be playing it at Friday Night Magic. What is a trick? What is the one thing you want to give people? What's the one takeaway about playing this deck that they need to know?
It's really important to learn the sequencing on the first couple turns. The deck is really fast. You can mess up the first 2 turns and just get punished. But it's an easy deck to goldfish. Just have a look at some hands, learn how to fetch, learn how to use a Mishra's Bubble. It's not only a cycling spell. Also remember the trigger, like we're just counting on the team, at least half the team has missed a Mishra's Bubble trigger, which is not the idea, like you want to draw the extra card. That's the most challenging things, and just learn to interact. Don't lose your Death Shadow to, for example, Growth of Board Willow. I haven't seen many Tron decks in here, but something I want to do is just play a Death Shadow has a 1/1, pass, and just see it die because they give you 1 life with the Growth.
Yeah, you don't want them to give you life. Okay, so there we have it. Fabrizio Anteri, Death Shadow Zoo. Something to think about when you're playing Friday Night Magic, or maybe when you're playing in the Magic Online Modern Gauntlet.